marriage in terms of the role she has to play as a wife, or vice versa, the role the young man has to play as a husband, or that in terms of responsibility when she becomes a mother, or in terms of responsibility when the young man becomes a father, right? Are they really prepared for marriage? Are they ready for marriage? And I think that they are not ready for marriage. And hence the reason I want to say then that the Muslim Marriage Bureau should not only, and I hope I'm not putting too much task upon you, but they want to ensure as an additional thing, and I'm sure Toronto Jamaat, if you're talking about Jamaat Toronto, I know that those brothers do a fantastic job though, because they have, besides just introducing people for marriage, they hold marriage classes.
Yeah, yep.
Which is very important.
Yep.
You've got to have classes in marriage, and as you mentioned it, I wish that maybe we could, and I thought about doing that even on television, that we have, bring youths here and talk to them about marriages, let them ask all the questions they want, and all the problems, the challenges that they will face. We need to let them know that. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I do as a Muslim marriage officer, besides introducing people and so on, I still perform marriages, and I don't like to do any marriage or perform any marriage unless I've counseled both parties before. I'm talking about sitting and talk to them at least 2 hours, minimum 2 hours. Why? I want to talk to them and find out from them, do you know what you're getting into? You tell me you love this boy or you like this girl, you're infatuated with each other because of, I hope it's not the car or the big muffler or the music, right? I hope it's that you really like each other for the right reason, right? Because many a times they know that, look, there's some certain things about each other, certain traits about each other, and they're hoping that after the marriage it will work out, but most time it don't work out. And so we need to counsel them into, you know what they're getting into, the challenges that you'll face in marriage and how to cope with that. In terms of their responsibilities, both as a wife, as a husband, as a mother, as a father, when children come into the marriage. Because today many young people, and I think as the next topic, why so many young people getting married and don't have any children yet? And some of them don't want to have children. They're telling you, that's a big responsibility, afraid that. So many things. Now, what are the reasons for marriage? Let's look at what is the main reason for marriage. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the human race. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted the human race would go on. And He put a system in place for the human race to continue by marriage. Right? So people have children legally and the human race will continue. If we get married and have no children, how will the human race continue? Are we going to try to defy one of the laws and ways of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We can't do that, right? So it becomes a responsibility upon us to understand that part of marriage, or within the marriage, there must be children in the marriage too. That actually forms a family and brings the happiness in the family. Now, those of us who have children could afford to tell others who don't have children, that is, if not that, that is those who don't want to have children, what they're really missing, because it's a joy and a happiness to take part of this responsibility. So, while it is true that the Marriage Bureau will bring them together and have them talk and supervise that, there's still the opportunity. We have to create that opportunity for both parties to talk. Let me tell you something. No young boy and young girl are going to come and sit there and on there, and you and I sit in the center here, and they will talk freely. They will not talk freely, right? But we can introduce them to come sit here and say, okay, this is so-and-so, this is so-and-so, this gentleman so-and-so is what we have about him, this young lady so-and-so we have about her. Is there anything else you want to mention about yourself to this gentleman? And do you want to mention anything about this, to this lady and so on? And then what I have done is, not that we don't supervise them, but you leave them alone to talk. We somewhere just a little distance away. Because they may want to ask each other things. Sometimes they feel embarrassed to ask in front of a senior. Let's face it. The young people want to ask something genuinely, but they feel embarrassed to ask that. Or they want to say something, they might be embarrassed to say it. And that's the only reason I feel that we need to give them an opportunity to talk. In the same room, we might be just on the side. And then remember that they could do it, right, by the communication and so. At the end of the day, they must have the right to communicate with each other. I'm not saying that they must go in any corner, but to communicate. It's good to communicate. Whether the boy visit the home in the presence of the family and talk to her, or that they meet with family members and they talk, or that they use the telephone or the internet. I could imagine what a talk could go on in that, right? That we wouldn't even know. But they must communicate, because at the end of the day, they will like each other, and they should like each other based on what they know about each other. And if they see the compatibility and so on there, then mashallah, we will get them a certain time when they could tell us, okay, you want to get married, fine. We could even, the Marriage Bureau could even take a step further beside arranging the counseling and the lectures and so on to help them develop and ready for marriage. Another thing they need to do is maybe help assisting them in setting up the marriage and in terms of arranging the marriage, because sometimes people in arranging a marriage do not know how to arrange a marriage. Sometimes good Muslim people have a marriage and too many haram things go on, even in the ceremony. I'm saying that generally. We have to be very careful about that. They may need help also in that. People need guidelines for those kind of things. Hope I answered the question there.
You had a very important point just now with regards to the marriage seminars.
Yeah.
I knew you have a lot of experience on this topic. Would you be available then?
I would love to. I would love to. I always look forward to it. It's not something I can do for myself, to arrange for myself. And yes, if Mssl take it on, why not? I'll make myself available because it's something important to do. It's a service that we should, we should do.
Okay, inshallah. Also, now you spoke just about communication. Because we want to do this the proper way, there must be barakat in whatever we're doing, right? We have to do everything according to Islamic law. Otherwise, there'll be no reward for us, for the people who get married, anything. It must be done correctly. Now, you said that we allow them to speak to each other.
Yeah.
Is there a way that is there anything in place where we can control the amount of communication, or do they,
Let me
okay.
I think I understand what you're saying. Let me look at it this way. When you see parents bring a boy to meet a girl meet a boy, parents meet together, what do? They come and they sit together, and the girl would normally come and sit with the family. The old Indian culture is that she serves things to the family, right? And that's how they get to meet this girl, that she come to serve something. And if she make it well, better again. They want to boast, well, she made that, right? Whatsoever. But the thing is that the girl would come and sit with her parents, and the boy sit with his parents and say, okay, this is so and this is so and so. And sometimes, boy like girl because, wow, she's beautiful. So he go for the beauty, attractiveness, right? He may go for that. Most of the time, the girls are very humble and so on. But the girl has a right to like the person too. And I'm going again to what we should not in any way want to force, and parents should not, we know that, parents should never force their daughters to marry someone that she doesn't like. I think you know the incident at the time of this young man, or this man who came and said he had this son for marriage, and introduced the other man said, I have this daughter for marriage. And then they say, okay, I know this man who's very, very nice, a good man. The man was pious. He was, in terms of discipline, first class discipline, everything. And the girl never wanted to disobey her father. She learned that disobedience to her father is disobedience to Allah. She learned that. And that stuck in her mind. And she said, okay, my father, I'll marry the man because you want me to marry him. But she really did not have this likeness. Her heart didn't go out to the person. Of course, when she went after the marriage, and of course she had to sleep with the man and have a relationship with him, she just couldn't face the man because of his facial appearance. She did not find it attractive. She had a real problem to even look him in the face. It was very hard for her. She couldn't go through with it. But the man was very nice, and that he never forced her into a relationship. He realized, okay, she didn't want it. She wasn't ready for it. He didn't never force her. It went on for a long while. And so she went, the man went to the father and said, this thing is not working out, so and so and so. The parents talk and so on. They counsel the girl into it, so. Let's try again. It didn't work out until they went back to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after counseling her, said, well, try again and so. And then it couldn't work. Then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I think you need to divorce. You need to separate them. You can't force her into it. And that is traumatic for her. Subhanallah, I keep on saying Islam has everything in place to assist us, human being, or to look at the human side of everything. So we should not in any way want to, as a marriage bureau, remember all we can do in a marriage bureau, we cannot force people into marriage. We cannot tell them they have to marry each other. We can counsel them into it. We can hold seminars to encourage them and so on, and show them why it's nice to get married. We can hold seminars and so on to show them, don't try to get everything you want in a marriage, and don't look at all little things in somebody as a fault and so on. We can overcome some things and all that. We can hold seminars for that, to prepare people for that. Because sometimes you hear some young men saying the kind of person they want for marriage, say, she ain't born yet, boy. You really have that. Or some ladies talking about some men who say, that fella, I don't think Allah created that man yet. Jokingly, you say that, right? But the thing is that we need to help them. But we can't force them into it. That's not our responsibility. We introduce them and to find, as far as practicable, compatible mate for each other. Subhanallah, that's what the Marriage Bureau can do. And in terms of communication, as I say, how can we stop that? As long as you introduce two people, look, right away we're going to start to exchange email and telephone. Can we stop that? We should not. We should not want to do that. Why should we restrict that? Boy and girl are not going to meet each other, but talking on the phone. Of course, I know all kind of talk could go on. It could get out of hand too. But we need to trust them. That's the next thing. We need to trust them. We should never let young people or give them the impression that we don't trust them, that they'll get into nonsense. We want to watch